What up? It's your boy Trey Hustles, man. Back again, jumping on here, talk about why you need to be relentless in your business dealings and with what you want out of life. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we tend to kind of just take an easy approach at shit instead of going super hard. You know what I'm saying? You got to be relentless in this shit, man. Like, if you look at these big companies, you know what I'm saying? Those of y'all who've been on my channel or seen my videos before, you know I own a restaurant. I also own a online vintage and sneaker company. Both of those arenas are very, very, very competitive, very relentless. You know what I'm saying? People in there that you have to deal with. Everybody's out to try to make a buck realistically at your expense. You know what I'm saying? These companies, they're gonna run ads, they're gonna try to get those customers. You gotta be relentless to get your customers. You know what I'm saying? You gotta relentlessly attack this shit. You know what I mean? I think that, sometimes, you might be like, let's say you selling burgers and shit, and you up the street, you got another burger joint. Around the corner, you got another burger joint, right? What are you gonna do to separate your burger joint? Are you gonna just sit there and hope that people come and patronize your burger spot, or are you gonna make them have a reason to pick your burgers over the other place's burgers? You know what I'm saying? What makes your burger special? You know what I mean? Do you have the biggest burgers, the best beef, the best topping? Do you have a gimmick? You know what I'm saying? You gotta come with whatever you gotta come with. You know what I mean? You gotta attack that shit relentlessly. You know what I mean? If you the type of person that, you like to go and, work your 8, 9 hour, 10-hour, maybe 10-hour shift or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you might not want to be a business owner. You might want to just be a manager. You know what I'm saying? We need managers. You know what I'm saying? People that own business, we need good managers. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you might need to set your sights as being a manager first before you can, learn how to boss up and be, the owner of the company. You know what I mean? That's really the proving ground for business owners. You know what I'm saying? If you've been a manager, that gives you a lot of the skills set that you need to, run a company. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to learn a lot of other things like budgeting and building systems and different shit like that too. But you know what I mean? If you go and let's say you go to school, right, and you get like a business degree, right? I had a partner that had a business degree, right? And I'm gonna tell y'all this story. I had a business partner and he quit the company because shit got rough, right? You know what I'm saying? He had a business degree, but he wasn't no hustler. So, every time that anything got rough, he would want to quit. The one time I just said, fuck it, go on and go. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. You gotta be relentless, man. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? This shit is gonna try to make you quit every day. Everything's gonna make you quit, make you want to quit every day. You know what I mean? When you, let's say like me, right? I started a weight loss journey in last year in May, right? I was like, I'm not gonna be the fat guy no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna switch my shit up. You know what I mean? I've been a big guy since I've been, you know what I'm saying, in my like mid-teens. You know what I'm saying? My heaviest that I ever was, I was like in the 380s. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when I jumped on the scale and I was 363, and I was just unhappy with that 363 shit. So I said, fuck it. And I went and joined the gym the next day, and I started going to the gym that night. I signed up the gym during the day, and I went for the first session at night, and I just bought a little program off the internet for like $12 or $20 or something. And I just started doing the workouts on there that night. You know what I'm saying? And I lost some weight, you know what I mean? But I also learned a lot, you know what I mean? And I got to like learn myself a lot being in the gym. I stopped spending so much time hanging out with people that weren't really trying to like get in shape, wasn't trying to like become the best version of themselves. You know what I mean? They wasn't trying to grow their business to millions. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't trying to grow their other business to millions. They wasn't trying to put their people on so they could learn how to be bosses themselves. So I started separating myself. You know what I'm saying? You got to be relentless even when you start separating yourself and start, you know what I'm saying, handling the business that you need to be handling. You know what I'm saying? If you want to If you want to start a restaurant or you want to start any business you want to start, you know what I'm saying? No matter what business you want to start, you want to start a detail business, you're going to have to separate yourself and you're going to have to work that shit. You might have to work 80 hours a week just to get that shit even jugging to where you could quit your job. You know what I'm saying? Like you might have to work, well, you can't work 80 hours and still have a job, but you get what I'm saying though. You might have to work all your spare time, you know what I'm saying? You might have to work the detail shit during the day and then have a night job just to pay your bills for now or whatever, hold you to sustain you till that detail business start jugging enough to where you could, you know, get a mobile trailer or get you a little spot, a little garage where you can have the people, you know, pull up, or get you some plates and go grab the cars or whatever you got to do, you know what I'm saying, to do whatever business, you know what I'm saying, hauling junk, whatever. You gotta figure out how you gonna get to that shit. You gotta make a plan. You gotta work your plan. You gotta be like, man, all right, I'm not gonna go hang on the block with homie and them. I'm gonna go over here and go get the second job so that I can stack the money up to get the detail trailer or the junk truck or whatever, the box truck or whatever you trying to do, food trucks, whatever business you trying to start, a restaurant, a clothing store, barbershop, whatever you go want to start. You got to do whatever you got to do whatever it takes to get that money, the seed money, to even start that shit. Once you get that little bread, you can start with, I feel like you could almost start any business with a rack. You know what I'm saying? Like just a rack. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if you relentlessly stack up a rack and get your mind right, and then you relentlessly go after the hustle that you pick, and you go ham at that shit, and you just get you some cards, and you start everywhere you go, you just talk about that shit. Get you a shirt that says AJ's or whatever your name is detailing, and you just mob around everywhere you go. Somebody look at the shirt, you be like, yo, boom, give him a card. Boom, hey, I know you a car. Boom, your car dirty, your shit dusty, go on and hit me up, bro. I got specials, I got toot, whatever. Let them know. You gotta put your offers out there. You know what I'm saying? Because I guarantee you, anything you trying to get into, if you look at the top people, because like pretty much there's not that much new shit under the sun, right? So if you look at the people who are like at least in the game, getting money in whatever you want to jump into, you gotta go super fucking hard just to even get your foot in the door. You see what I'm saying? Because they already got a $50,000 a month marketing budget, $100,000 marketing budget, billion dollar marketing budget, and you gotta compete with these motherfuckers. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I was in this group. It was just this little paid group of restaurant owners. I remember one time, homeboy said he was asking me about my restaurant and blah blah blah, because he thought my revenue was kind of high for someone who just opened a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? I've only been at the highest a prep cook in a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time I was a fucking dishwasher. You know what I'm saying? But I'll always like learn how to do the line, learn how to do all the other jobs that I could learn how to do, so that like if somebody called off or some shit, I was always trying to be ready to jump in their spot. You know what I'm saying? But I end up turning into being an entrepreneur instead of keeping going with just being an employee. You know what I mean? But I was able to ear hustle enough and learn enough to even start a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Just off that. And then, but anyway, like I said, I was in there, and I was in that group. I be rambling and shit, just deal with it. But anyway, so I was in that group, and we had a meeting or whatever. And everybody, there was probably about 30 business owners in there, different restaurants, they're Iranian, Asian, whatever, all up in there, right? And he was asking me about my business, because, you know, we would give information. When you join the group, you would have to introduce yourself. They want you to introduce yourself, tell about your business, your revenue, shit like that, whatever. They want to know how far along you are in your business or whatever, how successful, whatever. And homeboy was drilling me, asking me questions and shit, you know. I was answering all his questions and shit, and he hit me with a question that I really, like, it really fucked me up when he told me the answer, because I answered the shit wrong. And he was like, okay, he was like, you're on your computer now, so I want you to Google your restaurant. and look at the map, and then I want you to point out the 5 closest restaurants to your business and tell me who's your competition. And I was looked at them, and I was looking at judging them off the food that they had, and I said none of them are my competition because I sell pasta. And he said, you wrong, they're all your competition because you're going after people's stomach. That's the customer, the stomach, right? You trying to go after hungry people. So if they're selling sandwiches, it doesn't matter what they're selling. They're selling sandwiches, selling burritos and shit over there. Y'all are all competing for the same stomachs. So you got to make sure, you got to give people a reason to come and fuck with your shit. You see what I'm saying? And I learned that lesson. That was about a year and a half ago when I learned that lesson. And I was like, damn, everybody competition. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you open a clothing store, you gotta look at everybody as competition. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be relentless to get those customers. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta really think about like how much your customers are, how valuable your customers are to your business. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of the time we might, you know, have a customer that's unhappy and shit, and we might be like, oh, fuck this customer or whatever, right? But think about how much that customer, if that customer just stopped shopping with you today, and let's say you had a customer every day just leave your ecosystem, man, you're about to fall off. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you got to be relentless in getting your customers, keeping your customers, but, you know, when you're starting off, you gotta really, really be relentless in everything just to go and get at that shit. You know what I'm saying? Just to even start anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. Like, I see a lot of people every day that, you know, they say, oh, I wanna do this, I wanna do that. But then they just go and binge watch fucking Netflix all fucking day. You know what I'm saying? Just binge watch the shit. And then complain that they can't get the paper. Like, this is like as easy as it's gonna fucking get. You know what I mean? Especially right now, how the economy is. You know what I mean? And then you got a lot of people that got really like mentally mind fucked during the bullshit or whatever. Now they don't even want to really do they don't want to put no grind in. You know what I mean? So if you're willing to grind, you just got to get out here and set your motion and go. You know what I'm saying? And be fucking relentless and take the shit you want. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just had that shit on my mind. I wanted to holler, you know, put that shit out there. But yeah, man, it's your boy Trey Hustles. Peace.